Call David Clendon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ki te mihi kia koutou. May I begin by also acknowledging the very untimely and sad passing of an extraordinary man. Ea Mehina Rei had a lifetime, a far too brief a lifetime of service to his hapu, to Tautoko Rao, and indeed to all of New Zealand. In a tradition of that family, I must say. It was an honour, genuinely, to be present at Motatau for his final farewell. The atmosphere, the speeches, the very presence that was at that place reflected something of the man himself. And I think we can be assured that our colleague Pene Henare, in his time in this House, and indeed outside this House, will continue to add mana to the name he bears. Kia ora. Sir, I would like first to reflect on the fact that the wide support and the genuine support for this bill is a reflection on the good work of the Māori Affairs Select Committee. It seems to me that that committee has ways of its own of getting things done. It works in mysterious ways on occasion, but seems to generate good work and gets good outcomes. And this bill, I think, is a good example of that. I admit, I must say, I was initially sceptical when I saw the first draft of this bill, because the first thing that struck me about it is that it was the government, senior politicians, giving away power, giving away authority. And that's completely counterintuitive to anybody who's been in politics for any length of time. But indeed, that is, in a sense, what is happening with this bill. It is reallocating responsibility and authority for the management of that unique place for Waitangi. And I do think it's a move for the good. As I say, my initial scepticism was laid to rest. And it does seem a genuine attempt to update a governance and a management structure that was in need of some work, in need of some attention. And I think what's come out is something that will serve us well, acknowledging, of course, there's to be a further review, and that's a good thing too, to just see that we do get this right. It's difficult to overstate the importance of Waitangi, the house, the grounds and the area around it, to this country, not least of all culturally. It is the site of the signing of the document that gives this government, of which we're all part, legitimacy, that gives the Crown its legitimacy in this country. And we must continue to return to that it is absolutely fundamental. It is a living document, as valid today as it was in 1840 when it was first signed. Sir, as well as I must confess even to this day that when I meet New Zealanders who have never visited Waitangi, there's always a surprise there, but okay, for some people it's a long way from home. My own memories of it go back to when I was sort of 4 or 5, and I'm privileged to live nearby still, so a regular visitor. It's extraordinarily important both culturally, politically, constitutionally, and dare I say it, the site also has some significant economic importance for Northland particularly. It's important that the governance and the management structure is right, so that we maintain the quality of the experience for the people who do visit that place, and that we seek to enhance that experience, not only because of the fact that it is literally the place where our nation, Aotearoa, New Zealand began, but as a site of significance, historic significance. I think we need to do our very best to ensure that it does retain the value and the qualities that ensure that people go there, remember the experience, reflect on it, tell others about it. And indeed, as an aside, I do think that we don't yet, we won't know we near exploiting the potential of the wider heritage of Northland, of the sites, and some have been mentioned, of Waitangi, of Russell, of Paihia, of Mangungu, of Waimate, of Kerikeri, the Mission House, dare I say it, of Clendon House. The more that people become aware and start to join the dots about the extraordinary stories of those remarkable people who actually, both Pākehā and Māori, who made this remarkable agreement, who in that time, in the late 18th through in the 19th century, who lived in those times and did some extraordinary things. I mean, to some extent, all history is social history. And I think we're very fortunate in New Zealand that we still have the artefacts like the homes and the furnishings, and indeed the very close relationships a generation or two back. We can look to people who actually were there on the day in Waitangi, and that's something to be treasured, I think, and to be shared with not only with each other, with New Zealanders, but with others who come here to find out what this, to some people, remote country is all about. So that's slightly an aside, but I do have to say I think that the bill has advanced the management and governance potentially of the place. We're particularly pleased, of course, and the point's been mentioned already, that embedded in this bill is a commitment to having a presence on the board of descendants of Honahiki, of Mahi Kawati, of Tamaki Wakanini, and of course of Pomare. At one point it seemed as though that inclusion might need to await the review, which could delay for some time. So I'm particularly pleased that as I say, the interesting machinations of the committee has ensured that that commitment is embedded in this bill at this point. And I do hope that the bill goes through without further delay. I see no reason it should. It is a good document. It will achieve some good things, and we certainly look forward to the work that we hope the board will do in future to continue to add value, to enhance that place, to get the visitor centre there. To have the original document there would be extraordinary, and that would be a wonderful thing. So we do hope that this is as successful as we all hope it will be. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Dave.